My social studies teacher back in grade 2 taught me that Canada was a place where regardless of your identity, you would be treated fairly. That no matter who you were or where you came from, you would be welcome. You have no idea how much I wish that were true. Recently, I've started getting my news on Twitter. And although I know there will be people in the audience who have some choice words about that decision, I'm sticking behind it. Because when you live between the margins, the weatherman seldom tells you how the skies are looking that day. The news of made me lose the bounce in my step. Tina Fontaine was 15 years old at the time of her death, and there was nothing she could have done to deserve it. However, the system of colonial court that we have here in Turtle Island makes indigeneity a crime. These tragic deaths, these acts of violence, they may strike us at any time because grief knows no age and no stature. I have learned not to expect much of the Canadian justice system. I never have. But because this case struck so close to home, I was hoping for a miracle I wouldn't receive. Raymond Cormier was found not guilty despite confessing in the murder of Tina Fontaine. I took action as soon as I could because of this verdict reminded me of anything. It is that Indigenous women have always been on the front line of this fight. I have an indescribable gratitude towards the women who came before me that fought and sacrificed everything for me to be standing here in front of you today. I have taken it as a responsibility to continue this fight in order to ensure my children and their children the ability to live safely on this land. I was not surprised by this verdict, and as sad as it is, I know it will not be the last of its kind. The night the verdict made its way online, my timeline was flooded with a variety of different things. What stood out to me, however, was the apologies, the "I'm sorry, this system is broken." My friends, this system is not broken. It is working exactly how it was designed to. So while your thoughts and prayers are coming from the purer places in your heart, I want you to be taking action. I want you to be standing here today. I want you to join us in this battle to decolonize, because an accomplice will always outweigh an ally. However, as an address to each and every one of us, we must be careful with our chosen words. A common occurrence I have witnessed on social media is that often in these times of grievance and injustice, we are using hashtags such as Native Lives Matter, Indigenous Lives Matter, and Say Our Name. These hashtags are taking an inappropriate spin on phrases founded in the Black Lives Matter movement and are transforming them to fit our own circumstances. Black Lives Matter works tirelessly against the violence and backlash they receive simply to exist. When we morph these phrases and treat them as our own, we are derailing all the effort put into their resistance. It impacts the magnitude and the power of their words. We should not be standing on the shoulders of our allies. We cannot be demanding respect while showing them to them. It is time that we do better. Dear politicians, stop attempting to separate yourself from these systems. Until you lay out a plan to rid these systems of their systematic colonial violence against Indigenous bodies, you should not be preaching to us for reconciliation. How can we talk about reconciliation while Indigenous youth are still navigating a country that tells them their life is worthless? It will be challenging. Perhaps it will be something that will not be accomplished in any of our lifetimes, but in order for these changes to occur, we need to start working now. This will not be something that occurs in a simple metamorphosis. You need to change the way you inhabit this space. You dismantle these systems that uphold the genocide of Indigenous people. We need to rebuild. Lastly, to my marginalized young people, if I can get one thing across to you today, I want you to know that there is resistance in your simple existence. You show more courage walking out the door in the morning than the ones who are trying to silence you have their whole lives. When you exist unapologetically, you are fighting against an atmosphere that is constantly trying to keep you down. In your laughter, I hear the revolution. When your grandmother told you that there was nothing more important than being yourself, she was not lying. Folks, I want you to be aware of these issues happening around you. I want you to raise your voice and call out BS when you see it, but I want you to be okay. Constantly putting yourself into these spaces that will exhaust you, scare you, and endanger you will be hard. So take breaks when you need them. And never forget that if the only thing you did this morning was breathe, that is enough. You do not need to hold your ground all the time. It is okay to feel things. There is bravery in your smile. There is resilience in your anger, and your tears are sacred. Do not forget that. Please hug the young people around you. Make sure you show them the love they deserve, not only in these times of grievance, but for the rest of your days. Let them know their lives are irreplaceable. Listen to us. Respect us. Now, before I hand this off to the next speaker, I want each and every one of you to say something with me for the Indigenous youth in the crowd. Ready? You are worth the effort.
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 Thank you. Be glad.